Well, greetings and welcome to this episode of
Healing courageously.
Okay.
He gets so carried away with his healing
I had to do it earlier
I know,
because I
you
just had to do it
I know.
to irritate you.
Yeah, I know you
Right?
did. Yeah.
Right?
You did a good job. So
Yeah,
thank you
right.
for
So,
that. So
well,
what are we doing
okay.
today?
Well, it's February.
February is the month of love.
Really?
Yeah.
And you better start loving me, woman.
Oh my God, I love you every day.
Well,
So-
I don't.
We got to start out the month of love with some music, though.
Yeah, that's right. Love Kathy and her music and her love music, Hey, but last week we had Alyssa and Jared on talking about
Patient
love.
Patient love. Yeah, we're in the month of love. So it's the 4 P's of love.
Yep.
And this week we have another special guest.
And they are
with us.
special
They are
too.
special. They're special to me.
They're kind of our rock stars.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're the ones we brag about quite often.
Quite often we brag about them.
So today we have Chris and Alicia joining us all the way from Alabama. Hi guys.
Alabama. Roll Tide.
Yeah, there you go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk with Chris and Alicia on practical love.
Right.
So we've done patient love. Now we're going to go to practical love. And so practical love, people might think, well, what the heck is practical love? And it's one of those things that I don't think we think about on a regular basis is how are we practical in our love? And Chris and Alicia have a beautiful story.
Yes, they do.
And they have learned to, they've learned how to be patient in love. They've learned how to pursue in love. They've had to persevere in love, which are our other topics. But being practical in love, I think, is one of those areas that we don't always think about. So you guys, why don't you tell us, you guys are currently living in Alabama. How and why are you there? We used to all go to church together in the same area, all of us in California. And now a bunch of us have split out to, I think God sent us out is really what happened. So why don't you guys share about your move, how that came about, and how that kind of ties into being practical in your love. Whoever wants to start.
You want to start?
I'll start, I guess. So we decided one day that we were going to move across the country. We had thought about it, if that was something that we wanted to do. First, we looked at Texas, and I'm a school teacher. So it was like, they have really expensive insurance. so we just started looking, and my mom had mentioned Alabama, and we're like, Alabama? Well, that's weird. But they have teacher insurance here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept looking into it. We visited and we kind of fell in love with the area, more the Huntsville area. We're in the Florence area, which is west.
Northwest.
Yeah, northwest. We're 11 miles
Very
from
northwest.
Yeah, 11 miles from Tennessee. And how close to Mississippi?
About 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're in the corner.
Yeah, we're in the corner, which is nice. So we just started looking at houses of what we wanted, and we prayed about it. We prayed a lot about it before we even made any decision at all. We prayed first.
I think we spent, before we even started looking at places that we were going to move, I think we spent about a year praying and making sure that it was the decision that God had wanted for us. Because we knew that we had both tried to do things on our own, through our own will and our own control in life, and it never really worked out when we did it that way.
Yeah.
So
we just started looking, and literally just whatever popped up in the area from Huntsville, which is an hour, 2 hours away from us, all the way down to Birmingham and up, kind of because we were looking for acreage and certain thing, and at that time, the housing market was hot. And so you didn't even have time to think about it. It was like now or never. And so there was a lot that kind of the ones that I really, really wanted got away from us. And then this one popped up, and we're like, all right, let's just put a bid on it. We were not the highest offer, and we got the house. But now that we're here, it's the house God had for us, because all the other ones were nowhere near as nice and as beautiful and perfect for us and what we needed.
Yeah. And the couple that sold us our house, they were very, God-fearing, church-going people. They prayed for us They walked the perimeter of their property, prayed over their property, and just asked God to bring in another family, big family, that went to church and just wanted to be planted here. And so win-win, I guess,
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So I know you guys have had some, I'm just kind of jumping in.
Yeah, no,
You
go
guys have
ahead.
had a journey from the time you guys started dating until you married. And of course, Alabama is the most recent of your journey. Through those obstacles, and I'll just let you guys kind of take it from there, from through the ups and downs in that we all have in our marriages and in relationships. How are you guys able to find that balance of practical love? I mean, you can have all these other things going on in your life, and you had quite a few things going on in your life, but how are you able to find that balance?
Yes, and especially, in your recovery time, through the ups and downs that happened in that. I mean, I know we work real close with both of you. And there's a lot that ups and downs at first that you guys went through. And it took a lot of patience, patient love.
Yeah, patient love
And
there.
a lot, you had to be practical about a lot of it too. I mean, how are we going to work through this? What am I going to do? And again, everything was God focused. So he was at the center of everything. Absolutely. If he wasn't, then none of you guys wouldn't be here. Talking to us. So,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and how the practicality of love helps you through all that.
Well, I guess going back to sort of the beginning of, where we were, after dating for a while, I was hiding a large part of my life. And so when all of that, God brings everything into the light. So when he brought that into the light and exposed me, she, I think, had a part of herself that understood when I finally, explained what I had been hiding my whole life. That she had that, all right, you know what, if you want us to work out, then you have to make a choice. And I think part of that was an action step.
And that's what at first, like, what the heck is practical love? You don't know what it is. So
Yeah.
The way I figured it out is a lot of, I go and Google what are the synonyms for practical love. And so one of those is, action. Action is practical love. And I think throughout our whole relationship really is been a lot of action steps.
Right.
On his part, my part, together. Starting off, he started going to recovery and met Randy, and Randy just took him under his wing. And that's when I saw Jesus was through Randy. It was just the love that he had for Chris, just to literally make sure that he was okay and he didn't need or want anything in return. Right. And I went with him to support him because he was jacked up, right? We always tell these stories, us women.
She was perfect.
They were the problem.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. They were the problem, but soon enough, I was also a problem for myself. And so just realizing that and working through that and just kind of taking those action steps every single day. And I think doing that and communicating that with each other is, when we do things, we do it together. So it's even now when we do church things, we might join a small group or we may join something, but we make sure that we are doing church things together. And that's how we stay together. We know, what's important, but it's always together. Even if we're doing it separately, like recovery is my journey and his journey, but we're doing it together.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
I just remember the first night that Chris came in, the first time I met you, Alicia, and that Chris didn't even know about God. I mean, if I remember right, it's like, who's God? What's good? What's all this? And And I remember you, Alicia, you were even, I don't know, I want to go back to church, and because you've been to some churches and you go, I don't know about this church stuff anymore, and it was just like, okay, well, we're here, and if you want to come, you come. And the transformation that took place, again, we've been walking with Chris and Alicia for several years. Kathy and I look at any kind of recovery or helping people is that 1 Corinthians 1:18 says this: "Thought the cross to those that are perishing is foolishness, but to those of us that believe it's power." So when we meet people, we want to know where they're at, and
Mm.
I think that's, if I can remember right, that's also a correct what
Yes, maybe.
no attracted you
Oh,
guys
attracted, yeah.
to us and CR, because
Yeah.
we weren't pushing, we weren't pushing out. We just wanted you guys to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a message that really needs to get out to a lot of people, because too many people want to shove stuff down your throat, and that's not right. And,
Yeah.
and you guys have come so far. I mean, you guys are. We brag about you a lot.
Mhm.
We
We do.
really do, just because of the
Yeah,
journey
thank
that you went on, and where you guys are at today. I mean, it's unbelievable. So
Yeah. I think for me, when I think about this too, Alicia, you hit it on the head, the practical is taking action. Practical doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a
Right.
combination of a bunch of small things. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's really important to remember, is that, love is hard already. To love somebody and to give yourself to somebody, there's a lot of work. That's action. There's action in that, but we don't need to make it hard. We can take small practical steps, small action steps, to build on that love. And I know that one of the things I want to talk about, because you mentioned communication, Alicia, too, is how important communication is. And that's just one of those small little action steps that you have to
Yes,
take
it's actually
um,
very important.
it's important, but it's a small component of what is necessary to have a healthy relationship. But Alicia, I want to
Mhm.
talk to you before we go into the bigger part of the family, is that period of time when you found out you were pregnant with the twins. And where were you? I mean, I know where you were, but share a little bit about that, and what got you through that? Because I think that too was a bunch of little practical steps of love for yourself, practical
Yeah.
steps of love for your kids, and practical steps of love for Chris. There was a lot of little stepping going on during that time. So share a little bit about that journey and how you got through that.
Well, it was we had mono twins, so they were in the same sack. So that meant that their cords could get wrapped around each other. Of course, us, right? Like, God just brings the most craziest things when you're when you're in it with him. He will bring you things and just call for your obedience. So that was just a time of obedience. I actually prayed over your daughter and son-in-law to have the twins, but
Yeah.
it ended up being us. So I don't know what happened there. God must have those communications lines crossed.
God's
but-
funny though. He's
Well, be careful what you
He's got
pray for, okay? Even if for somebody
Yeah.
else.
So
They're
it
saying,
was.
pray that other people get what you want, is what they say. So
Yeah, you just got to be careful. Don't pray. Don't lay hands if you ain't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
them to come back. So it was just it was a crazy time. Like I'm a runner. So when scary things happen to me, I want to run. I want to run and run as far as I can and not deal with it, throw it under a rug and just keep going. And this was something I could not throw under a rug. And there was just one night I stayed up really late and was like, I can't do this, God. I don't know what you're doing. And he gave me this vision of a bus crash. And I was just trying to get away from this bus crash that happened. And I realized there's nowhere for me to go. Like, they're inside of me. I can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. So we were doing the Freedom Group study. And when in that study, there was something about Mary and how she never asked questions, never asked anything. And there was a question in there and it just said, I'm asking for your obedience, not for your understanding. And I've been trying to understand why this happened to me. And he wasn't asking me of that. He wasn't asking me to understand why me. He was just asking me to be obedient to what he was calling me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just like changed me. And so I just started to write down every single Bible verse that I could that had any kind of promise to it on a 3x5 ring card. And anytime I was scared, anytime I would bring that thing out and I would just read those cards, and I would memorize verses. I memorized, "You did not give me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." And every time I was scared, I would repeat that over and over and over again. Anytime I would go to, I had to have ultrasounds, like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I went in there, because you just didn't know, they had a 50-50 chance of survival. So you just never knew if you were going to go in and not know if they were still alive. And so I would go in, "You did not bring me this far to bring me this far." And I would just repeat those things over and over again.
And she was in the hospital this whole time.
Well, not the whole time, but that was the beginning of it.
I guess from what, week 20?
Yeah.
Week
24.
Week 24 to week 36.
Yeah. But I just knew God's got me through worse.
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't get me through this and the twins never made it to pass, that I would get through it. He would get me through this. He's gotten me through other things, so he would get me through this. Good or bad, he would get me through it. And so it was just a reliance on God that I couldn't run from. I couldn't choose something else. I'm good at planning to have like a backup. Where's my exit? Where I can exit and have a backup just in case it doesn't work out. And this was a no backup. There was nothing. So he took all of that from me. And it was one of the biggest learning experiences I've ever had, and you've probably ever had.
Yeah, I mean, when we first got married, well, shortly before we got married, when we got engaged, it was, you know what? I love her more than anything in the world. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. She's giving me 2 amazing kids. And we're good. And then as soon as we got engaged, we found out that we were pregnant, and then it was okay. All right, well, I guess we're gonna have a baby together.
That wasn't our twins.
And that wasn't the twins. And okay, you know what? God, okay, thank you for giving me, a flesh and blood, one that has my last name. I guess we'll have 3 wonderful kids. And then when we got pregnant with the twins, it was, God, what do you want from me? I mean, like 5, like I don't even know what to do with 5. I don't know, and so it was okay. No matter what, he's in control. He will only give us something that we can handle, that he knows that we can handle. Even though I didn't think that we could handle it, my folks still tell me all the time, I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't know how you guys do it. I'm like, I don't know. You just do it. I mean,
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Just, you can't run. You can't just leave.
Can't send them back.
You can't give them back.
So
Yeah.
I spent, from 24 weeks until they were born at 34 weeks in the hospital. Every single day I lived there. And I think part of that practical love was like the effort that was put into it. Like he could have stayed home with the kids, and we had lots of help. We had my mom, so it was great. But every single day he drove up to the hospital, which was a 30-minute drive from our house. But every day he made that effort and step to make sure I wasn't alone every single day. So I knew he was coming up, the kids were going to come up to do their homework. And so that was like, something that he could do. Even though things were out of our control, there were still things within our control that we could do for each other and for ourselves.
And I, just to piggyback off that, I think that being in recovery, I mean, I was only, less than 2 years sober at that point. I think somewhere around there, maybe a little bit more than that. But it was, okay, am I not going to go to the hospital and see my wife, who I love, and spend time with our family, working on that communication, enjoying that family time, and stay home alone, where maybe over time you're just opening up doors. You're opening up opportunities for the enemy to get at me.
Mhm.
It's good.
You know, and so there's the for me mentally it was okay. I want to spend every moment I have with her because she's my best friend
Mhm.
and my wife. Or do I stay home and allow, you know, that loneliness to start to kick in, and then, the enemy just gets at you,
Yeah,
you know?
that's good.
So it was okay, no, we're gonna go to the hospital, even though there were days, trust me, there were days where I was like, that's a 30-minute drive every day there and back. That's a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
And we're there until what, 8 or 9 at night,
Yeah,
you know,
7 or 8.
and then getting up, getting the kids ready for school. Yeah, we had help, but long days of work. There were days where I'm like, okay, I'm just so tired. But it's like once again, I want to see my wife.
Mhm.
I want to spend that family time. The only time that we can have family time is at the hospital. So we're gonna do it there.
Right. Yeah,
Every
that's
day.
good.
Prioritize your life.
Yeah, yeah. And so now I have the question, because we have twins who were born, they were in the hospital for a while. They are healthy and crazy little boys, just typical toddlers. You have your two
Yes.
older
Right.
kids, and then you have Connor. So there's 5 kids in your home. There has got to be some practical love going on in that house, because I'm
Yeah.
sure you both are working. You'll have a business. Alicia, you're working
Mhm.
out of the home. Chris has got the business at the home site.
Yeah.
What kind of practical tips do you have for families? I mean, whether they have 2 kids or 5 kids or 8 kids, it doesn't really matter. You've got to find some practical ways to show love, not only to yourselves but to
Yeah.
your kids.
That's important.
And that's one thing I
Mhm.
think that we've got to remember, is that we're training and raising our kids how to be a husband, how to be a wife. So what are
How to
some
be a father.
how to be a father,
mother.
how to be a mother, how to parent. So what are some practical ways or things that you guys have found for yourselves that works for you that you can maybe share with others?
Well, I mean,
We don't always do our best at this.
sometimes it's hard.
And that's
There are
good.
days
That's good,
where,
because you're being honest.
yeah, sometimes it's like I just need a moment, of quietness. It's like it's so random because it's every now and then she's like, I think I'm gonna go take a bath.
Yeah, I take a lot of baths.
A lot of baths,
But you know what?
but
There's nothing wrong with that, though. There has
no,
to be some self-care and
yeah,
practical love for yourself. So,
absolutely,
and you're
Yeah.
also showing the kids how to do self-care in those moments too. So
right.
that's not all
Right.
bad.
I think that with the 3 little boys, so having the 2 older ones, they're kind of at that age where it's they're like teenagers now, so they do more of, I'm gonna hang out, by myself. Like, well, our
They
daughter
would
likes,
like
yeah,
to.
they
They
like to hang out by
don't get to
themselves.
though all the time.
Not all the time, but trying to, with the little ones, we try to play with them a lot, you know. Um, so we try not to pass up a chance to play with them. Just today, Noah and I, we went and took him shopping. He's been asking to do that, so I went and he had some gift cards. So we spent that time. She likes to go shopping with her daughter.
Yeah.
She likes to spend that time with her, having that mom and daughter time. So we do try to, as it's hard some days because some days it's just crazy, 5 kids running around, 3 of them little. But we do try to spend that time with them, and then they also help out a lot too.
Yeah, our older ones
I
help out.
a lot.
But we've implemented, we would like to do more of this. We haven't done a whole lot of it, but once it becomes 8 o'clock, we put the little ones to bed at
Yeah.
7:30ish. We'll lock our door and we'll just tell the other kids it's mommy and daddy time and we need time and you guys can go do whatever you
Yeah.
want. And so we
Yeah.
put the little ones to bed and the older 2. And we're just like, okay, peace. And we'll watch a movie or do other fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, edit
Giggles.
that out.
I was just gonna ask that question. What do you guys do for mommy and daddy time? Now we know.
Yeah.
Other fun stuff.
All the
There
fun
you go.
stuff. Lock the
And
door.
they'll
say,
knock on the
"Kids."
door and we'll say, go away. Like, we don't even answer it.
Yeah.
We're like, go away. This is our time. It's 8 o'clock. We need our time too. And so by putting the little ones down, we still have it. And so we'll have at least a couple hours before we go to bed or fall asleep that we
Yeah.
just, even if it's just watching a movie together in our room with each other, we'll do that. And we try to do date night.
Good.
Mhm.
One of the things that was so important for us when we moved here, coming from you guys and our community that we had there, we had a marriage group. We just know how important community is for
Mhm.
our marriage.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we did, we might have joined some groups. First off, church, we know church is where we belong.
Right.
So we found a church that we could call home. And we attend regularly. We do that because God is the center of our lives.
Right.
But we do that because we know we need community. We
Mhm.
can't do this life alone.
No.
So we joined, our first thing that we did, we tried to join he joined a man's
Men's
group,
group.
I joined a women's group, but first thing we did was find a marriage group.
Yeah.
And so we joined a marriage group first, and that's something we did on Sundays, every other Sunday, and we were making new friends with our marriage group.
It was actually a blended families marriage group.
Yeah, which is cool.
So
Yeah.
it was like a lot of them, like they had all gone through what we've gone through.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of similarities. And we're like, oh, I totally know what you're saying. You know,
Mhm.
it was-
Right.
And it was, yeah. And
And
it was a chance to actually kind of have like a date night.
yeah, so we did that with each other, and I mean, we're blessed enough. I mean, we have both. My mom and dad live in the backyard, so some days it's great, some days it's a lot
Live
of fun.
backyard and doghouse, sounds like.
There is
Backyard.
a house in the backyard.
Yeah.
They just don't like pitch a tent. And
Oh,
there
that's
is a house back there too.
Yeah.
So as we kind of close this up, first of all, I appreciate you guys doing this. We love you guys. I know you know that, and we miss you. If you guys had one tip that you would like to share on how, what is one of your favorite things to do for practical love with each other, the two of you together, what would that be?
I mean, for me, it's easy, and it's not going anywhere or spending money on each other. It's just talking to each other. A lot of people, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people get stuck in their own either social media or their own kind of schedule.
Yeah.
For us, we don't ever, I don't think, have a problem talking about our days to each other, talking about our jobs, talking about church, talking about anything,
Mhm.
What's going on in the world, our plans for, a future recovery program. We genuinely enjoy just being around each other, but we have to continuously work on that by communicating.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I would say that. For us, it's just whatever, because we have been in recovery. I know myself better, and I know when I start to be stressed out,
Mhm.
or I'm, I know when I need to go back to recovery, when I'm like, okay, we moved here, we haven't found a recovery yet. I know myself, I have to go find one for me because I'm seeing old patterns
Yeah.
pop up in myself where, I'll let myself get too stressed out or different things like that. So I'm able to verbalize that with him too, is like, hey, I'm stressed out. It has nothing to do with you. This is my stress that I'm carrying from work or wherever. So I think just that, and just doing life together. Church, we make sure, like, that's why we love Celebrate Recovery so much, is just because it's such a family thing. When we do it, we're doing it together. And so for like everything we do, we do it together. It's important for us to keep that togetherness, that community with others, but it's also with us ourselves. We're not off doing separate things at our church. It's us together doing something together and going together.
Yeah.
When we first got engaged, we went through the wasn't interrogation by you two. It was like the marriage counseling. But one thing that you always told me was don't let that fire burn out.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
and so we are intentional. But I know that she's so busy with her work. She's starting a new job. She's starting a new career down here. That stress level can get high, you know. And for me, working on starting our business, but we have to be intentional in spending that time of just communicating and spending quality time together. And so I think we really are intentional about scheduling that time. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, there are times where I'm just like, we need to spend more time together. She goes, yes, we need to spend more time together. Then we look at each other and go, when?
Yeah.
Say, okay, well, let's just pull out our calendar. Let's just schedule it.
Yeah.
And it can
You
be
know.
easy as going to bed together,
Yeah.
even because that sometimes it's
Mhm.
hard. Like he'll be working on the business stuff and I'm going to bed early because I wake up early. So it's him saying, all right, I'm gonna make sure I make it to bed with you on time.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
I mean,
that's really important. Kathy and I, coming up on 40 years, believe it or not.
Crazy.
We have gone to bed together almost every single night, except while I was up studying when I was in school or whatever. But I think that's a really important thing. Matter of fact, a lot
practical.
of marriage gurus will tell you that's one of the most important
Mm-hmm.
things you can do is to go to bed together every night.
right.
Yeah, I think there's a few times when he's had surgery or something where he had to sleep in a chair versus the bed. But other than that, yeah.
That's because you kicked me out of bed. Come on.
Yeah, whatever.
Blame it on
I mean, but it's so true. I mean, even when we just started the business and we had a couple of really big jobs, and my mind was so focused on getting these jobs done. I was almost starting to put that ahead of us, because my mind was just there of wanting to build our business. Okay, well, our business will grow as God has it intended.
Yeah.
Our relationship and our marriage comes first.
Yeah, and that's true. Anything that's new, you get excited for, and then you want to push to get it done.
Right.
I can't remember who I was listening to recently, and it was about marriage and prioritizing marriage. And when you get married, your spouse is your number one priority over everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's biblical, right? I mean,
Right.
this guy went into the scripture. I mean, it's like, so anything we put, like we say, anything we put before our recovery, we're going to lose, right? Well, if we put stuff before our spouse, we're going to lose them. Maybe not physically, but we have the potential to lose them emotionally and spiritually. So
and maybe physically over time.
Yeah, and in today's busy world, it's hard to that can happen really easy, I guess.
Yeah, I think it just really like you guys are doing a great job. You're being intentional. You're coming back to just practical things that work for you guys right now. I mean, there's going to be a period of time where you won't have kids at home. That's a while away, but doing practical things now is what's going to hold your marriage and build it and make it stronger. So I appreciate that. You guys, thank you so much for letting us pick on you and joining us today. We're going to close out with just
I
said we're so proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I feel like I'm like celebrity,
That's great. So just got a little bit of things that we got to finish here. We have a call to action for the month of February, and that's going to be tag a friend. So on all your social media networks, make sure you tag a friend, invite them to listen to the podcast. By doing so, you just never know who you're helping. And each person that we tag in the process, that spreads out. That's like a fountain going up. It's a touching and it's landing everywhere. So we want to make sure we're tagging a friend. Also, if you know of anybody or if you yourself is interested in life coaching, please visit us at changeyourlifestorynow.com. There is a contact page there. You can put your information in. We still have the 30-minute coaching consultation that is at no cost to you. So we would love to have you join us for that, get you started.
And if they sign up, or if they go to the contact page and sign up, they'll also get an email letter.
Yep.
Once a month. We're not going to inundate you with a bunch of letters. And they'll also get this right here, the free PDF,
Mm.
my devotional, 30-day devotional to wholeness.
And you guys have done that one, you know that,
Yeah,
that
Mhm.
works too,
yeah,
so
you
that's
guys did
great.
that, right.
And
We
then,
did that
also,
together.
yeah, it's a great one to do together for couples, definitely. We also have our foundation, which is the Courageous Healers Foundation, and we are a nonprofit, and we have a call out for donations. We run strictly on donations. We have several people who seek therapy, or I shouldn't say therapy, coaching, counseling, things like that from us. And sometimes they don't have a lot of money. So it's your donations. We have several people, thank you, that donate on a monthly basis. We have people that do a one-time donation. If finances is not an area for you, don't worry about that. We just ask that you keep us in prayer, that this foundation will continue to grow, continue to reach those that are really truly in need of the help that they need for healing from, trauma, from, we do marriage counseling, we do pre-marriage
Pre-marriage
counseling,
counseling.
Symbis, we have a lot of fun with that. So if you have it on your heart, we ask that you just,
Addiction, trauma.
Mhm. We have it on your heart, just if you can make that donation, we would love it. You can also get that to that page through changeyourlifestorynow.com. And then you have your beautiful
Books,
books.
right? That's one's yours.
I know. Let me do this one first.
Okay, you do that one first.
So we have our book
Right,
in
Healing
Spanish
Place.
now. It's Healing the Wounded Child Within, but I like to read it in Spanish. It's Sana la Sareria del Niño Interior. So this is available on Amazon.
Yeah, on Amazon and paperback and Kindle.
Yep.
Now we have the original English version, Healing the Wounded Child Within, on Amazon, paperback, Kindle, and Audible if you like to listen to them.
Oh,
So
that's what I'm doing.
go to
Listening these
Amazon,
days.
grab them. This book has helped countless people so far that I know of.
Yep.
Still
helping people.
Still helping people. So it's a book of hope and healing. So
Yeah.
go to Amazon and pick yours up.
Yeah.
So
So thanks again, guys,
yeah, you
for
got it.
joining us. We love you guys so much. And we're going to be hitting the road sometime this summer or maybe early spring. We're going to be coming your way.
no, it'll be
Perfect.
We'll
Yeah.
be coming your way.
Yeah.
So,
It's still
anyways,
coming March in tornado season.
oh, good. We'll be there then. You want to close this out?
Bring your fishing pole.
Just close this out.
Oh, yeah. So you've never done that to me. You got me confused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's
It's
why
easy.
you're blonde.
That's easy.
You're
come
the
on.
blonde, not me. Okay.
Close this out.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope you got a lot out of this episode, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does.
Kathy does.
More importantly, God
God
does.
does.
Be
Be
blessed,
blessed.
everybody. Have a great week.